in the house again. Okay. And on our last episode, I was like, hey, Tiffany, you got a mission that you're on. You need to start a podcast. And guess what? That's exactly what Tiffany is doing. She's starting her podcast. And today we're launching her very, very first episode of Just Teach It. And so I'm excited, Tiffany. We're going to be launching this episode today. This is it. This is number 1, episode 1. Numero freaking uno. And I thought, what a better way than to kind of like time capsule this thing and talk about the idea from a seed, right? Because we're going to look back at this a few years from now when we're on like episode 1000, and we're going to look back and go, oh my gosh, wow. Look, it started as this little idea, started this seed, and now look, it's this great oak tree, right? But a lot of times people get stuck. They have this idea, they have this seed, they have this dream or this mission like you have, Tiffany, and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do next. And so we talked about podcasting to get the word out. And so I thought, you know what, today we're going to just kind of reverse engineer this thing. And I want you to just ask me anything that you want about podcasting, because that's kind of what I do. I've been doing it since 2018. And over 6 years, over 500 episodes, and I've made every mistake, and I've had some successes along the way too. So I'm gonna just hand it over to you. Just teach it. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go.
Okay, let's do this, Trevor. Oh my goodness. First of all, I am so grateful, right? Because I do have a mission, and my mission began right with just buying that pair of sneakers and just doing that little thing. And so, I feel like that's where I am today. Right?
Well, absolutely. It's like taking that first step. And so I encourage everybody to go listen to the last episode. It'll give you some context as what she's talking about as far as like buying the sneakers. What does that even mean? You have a hell of a journey, a hell of a story, and a hell of a mission. Okay. So I encourage you guys to all go tune into that episode. We'll make sure the link is in the show notes so you guys can reference that. But today I really wanted to focus more on, what do we need to do to take this mission that you have on? First of all, tell them about your mission, and then let's see how we can put a microphone on it and really get this across the world.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my mission is I am an educator. I am a teacher, whether that's, whether I have a classroom or I'm out in the world, wherever I am, I am a education is my passion. So I, have this journey that brought me to Tanzania, where I saw these schools and the teachers there that don't have supplies. I mean, basics, pencils, pens, forget a computer or, workbooks. So that's where my mission began. Right. And so I am a teacher. My mission is to support and help teachers around the world. And, and I also think, Trevor, we all have something to teach. We all, they say like, oh, we're all artists. But we all do have something to teach. We all have the teacher in us, and I think finding what that is for you, is your thing that you teach, or what that thing is that you can share with others. I think there's a lot of power in that for people. So, my mission for Just Teach It is to help people then find what what they can teach, what they love to teach, what their passion is, right? What can, because together we're better.
Oh my gosh. So I love this, first of all, because that's kind of like what I'm doing here with you today is like, I have a passion on helping people understand the power of podcasting and getting their message out there. And so teaching people how to do this stuff is one of my passions. And so I kind of align there with that. And I think that could be something that also, you might be able to leverage too once you get up and running and get this thing going. If you can help others understand how to amplify their voice. I had a fear of public speaking for so long, and used to be absolutely terrified of it. And podcasting was one of the things one of the many things that helped me to overcome that fear and find my voice, right? And so I think that's important. But let's kind of switch gears just a little bit, because we know we want to help you get your message out to the masses.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that we're going to do that is by creating long form content like this one. Okay. Having a podcast where we can do multiple things. Okay. And there's lots of different ways to do it, but I want to give you like 4 almost like must-haves. Okay. We're going to dive into that, and then we can go into some of the different questions that you have. But there's really 4 pillars when you're creating the content. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one is, I want you to think about business development. Think about the relationships that you need to have for your organization, for your mission, for your, your purpose, your business, whatever that is. What are those relationships? They say, you're the average of the top 5 people you associate with, things like that. It's all about who you know, right? You've heard those things. Well, who are the people you need to be rubbing elbows with? The people that you need, like, man, if I could get a hold of this person, right? And build a relationship with this person. Okay. So I want you to think about it from that angle. And what we're going to do here is we're going to interview that person. Okay, we're going to invite them. First of all, if you were to reach out to that person and say, hey, let me pick your brain. Yeah. They're busy. You're busy. I'm busy. We're all busy. Okay. Right. Probably not going to happen. But if I reach out to that person and I said, hey, Tiffany, I've been following you for some time. I've loved your work and what you're doing and your mission. And I just wanted to invite you on my podcast to see if we could amplify your mission and what you're doing. I would love to, highlight your experience and promote you to my audience. Right? Wow. Okay. Well, now we've got a different angle here where you can add value to that person that you need to have in your life. And typically what happens is, through a podcast episode, you build this like relationship, especially if the podcast is in person. Tiffany, I will tell you that it doesn't have to be. Okay. It does not have to be. We can do it just like this. It can be remote. It can be across the world. But if you are able to do an in-person interview, talk about
energy,
instant relationship building after that interview. Like, I mean, they'll practically do anything for you. I had Ken Coleman on my show, and I don't know if you know who he is, but Ken Coleman, nationally syndicated radio show. He's under the Dave Ramsey, umbrella, and he's got a massive show. Anyway, I had him on my podcast, and at the end of the podcast, he just told me, he's like, anybody that's ever been on my show that you want, you just let me know, and I'll open that door for you. And that was like, I just had, for 1 hour, I had a conversation with him, and he's like, anybody you need, just say the word.
Wow.
I got you. Right. And I'm like, dang, you got Dave Ramsey on there. You got all these people, the big names that he's interviewed. Right.
Yeah.
But instant, like, relationship building. So think about those people. This is what we call business development. Like, who are the people that, if you had them on your show, or if they're in your world and you're building relationships, who they could literally turn your life around.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Make an impact.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that, honestly, Trevor, that was for me, that was, I've been thinking about podcasts. I've been like, oh, podcasts, everyone has a podcast. But for me, when you brought that up, when you said that, like, you should have a podcast, that was the first thing that came to mind. But now I have something to give these, amazing people that I want to continue build these relationships with them. And that's where I started, Trevor, was writing out that list, right? I wrote, a list of like 50 people that I want to ask about my podcasts, and just kind of like why, just general notes. But that's where I started, was with that list.
Absolutely. I have a list of, it's my wish list. It's the top 50 people that, like, you got to think big. Okay. Big, think big, dream big, think big. Yeah. Okay. who are the top 50 people, your wish list? Like if you could have them on your show, who would those people be? And let's not go 50 because I've that takes a little while, a little thought. But maybe we could name Tiffany. Maybe we could name 3 right now.
Totally.
Who would be the top 3 people that like, man, I would love to have those 3 people. Like, and I don't think you would think big. Like, who would those people be?
Michelle Obama.
Okay, let's go. I just saw her on an podcast interview just the other day. And here's the deal about this. I want you to know the podcast. Okay, the world might be big, but you ever heard the world is small, smaller than you think, right? The podcasting world is even smaller, right? Yeah. Michelle Obama is not as far away as you think she is, just so you know. But go ahead. Who's the next one?
So Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Top on the list. Yeah.
There you go.
He has an education system that he's trying to get teachers involved with. And I saw that pop up. I was like, oh, we got to talk, Dave.
There you go. So now you are second connection. Well, second or third, I guess, because you know me and I know Ken and Ken knows Dave, right? You're a lot closer than you think. You get where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
I would buy if I get Dave on the show once we get that wrapped up, okay? Because it's coming, guys. Y'all better believe it. It's coming. Dave Ramsey's coming to the show. When that happens, better believe I'll make that introduction because I believe in your mission. Okay. Anyway, so you're closer than you think. What's the third one?
Exactly. Tony Robbins.
Let's go, Tony. Okay. He's on my wish list too. And I have 6 email addresses, all with Tony Robbins at the end of them. And I've been in communication with them. They know about me.
Yes.
It hasn't come to a fruition yet, but it's just timing.
Yes.
And keeping those people on your wish list. Like I never would have thought I would have even had a shot at Tony Robbins, right? But if you don't even have a target, you're definitely not going to hit it. But if you have a target, all of a sudden the universe starts to do these weird things and starts to connect some dots and like you're focused on it. It's like what is that? Like if you want to go buy a blue Ford F-150.
Oh my goodness.
That's all you see.
That's all you see.
Right? Yeah. So by creating this image, literally go to Canva, get their pictures, pull them over. Everybody that you want, Tony Robbins, Michelle Obama, like get them on your wish list. Have that like kind of vision board, have that vision. That's your target. Start then going and following all of those people on all social media channels. Okay. I want you to follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Instagram, follow them everywhere so that's all you see. Okay. Again, it's the blue Ford F-150, right? I want that to be in your news feed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And because you're going to see it, you're going to comment here and there. You're going to maybe send them a DM. You're just going to be shooting your shot because they're in front of you all the time. You're just shooting your shot. Why not? Why the heck not? I'm going to shoot my shot. Yeah. And one of the days you're going to land one.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that is, that's what I'm really excited about. I believe, I know. I mean, honestly, right, Trevor, like, let's just pull it back to like, this is why I'm here with you today, right? Like, you're my superstar list, right? Like,
oh, shucks. Yes.
Yes, but that's what I did. I shot my shot. I didn't even know what I was right. Like, you just raise your hand.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
Continue to make that connection. And the next thing you know, you've got, a friend for life. So
that's 1000%. Yeah. So backstory, Tiffany was in Breakfast with Champions, and I was doing a little competition in the room, and basically, I had a competition of speakers, kind of like a speak off, right? Yeah. And honestly, Tiffany kind of, I guess maybe showed up in the room late or something. I don't know. She didn't even know what was going on. She had no clue, but she just heard like, raise your hand. And she raised her hand, and I picked on her, and she got pulled up to the stage, and like, and then it was awesome. So here we are today, fast forward a couple years later, we've built a relationship because she was bold enough to raise her hand and get up on stage when she didn't even know what she was signing up for.
so true. It's so true. But I'm so glad, right? I mean, I've just been grateful for that day all the time. And I think
Yeah.
the other thing you were talking about public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
me too. And that was like even just talking about that moment, Trevor, right? Of me raising my hand. It isn't automatic for me to share my story.
Mm.
Like it isn't, I'm not in a flow right
Mm.
now that is like, yes, here I am.
Mm. It's
I
hard to sell yourself, right? It's hard to sell yourself, in everyday life. I mean, it's easier to sell someone else. Like if I told you, okay,
Yeah.
if you had to go recommend me to someone
Oh,
and you went up to, you're like, Trevor Houston, oh my gosh, right? You see what I'm
totally.
saying?
Yes.
But if I'm like, hey, go sell yourself to that person, you're gonna be a lot more like humble and timid. Like, like you're not gonna be like, oh, I'm the best. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna come out that way. When you should, but
Exactly.
it's just we're kind of wired that way. It's harder to sell ourselves than it is to sell someone else. You know what I mean?
It is, exactly. And it's like when that topic or that mission is so important to you too. That's what I'm
Mm.
finding like with my nonprofit. I'm doing a silent auction and I have to go to businesses asking for donations, and that mission, it's my baby, right? Like this is my passion. I find it even a little harder to talk
Mm.
about things, the closer, the more important they are to me.
Mm.
And I think that, what you said, the reason to start a podcast is just that. Then now here's the practice. Here's the time that I will get to share. I'm going to get to practice. I'm going to get to have this time where I'm going to get better. The flow is going to get smoother.
Yes. You got to get your reps in. So yeah, you're gonna become a professional speaker. Like you will, because you're gonna get your reps in. You're gonna be having conversations. You're gonna be doing intros and outros, and you're gonna be, like you're just gonna get better. Okay. And so okay, we talked about business development, right?
Yeah, that was number one. Yep.
That
Number two.
that's like, hey, who are those strategic partners, strategic alliances, or the people that like can open doors? You need relationships with these people. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two would be your ideal client.
Okay.
Okay. Your ideal client. Okay. Now I understand you're like in a nonprofit scenario, but I want you to think, ideal client. And this could be, you don't just necessarily want to interview your ideal client. What you would want to do is kind of like in this scenario where you're going to role reverse it, and you're going to say, hey, I'll give you, essentially, I want you to interview me. Ask me any question about X, Y, and Z, right? So like in this scenario, you're getting to learn about podcasting, and I'm kind of coaching you on podcasting, right?
Yeah.
So this way, the content that comes out of this is a little bit different. Instead of me highlighting Tiffany, like that was the last episode.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This episode is a little different because now we're talking about what I know, right? But I'm doing it in a way that's still helping you.
It's totally, yes, helping me and many others. Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's showcasing you as the expert. The last episode was me showcasing you as the expert. I was flashlighting you and spotlighting you and telling everybody about the program that you got going on and everything that you have going on. Like, you see what I'm saying? This one is a little bit different. This one showcases me as the expert because I'm coaching in this call. Does that make sense? It's like a live coaching call. Imagine like a live coaching call, one-on-one, where they get free coaching.
Exactly.
Right? But the clips that are going to come out of this are going to be fire. The clips are going to showcase me as the expert, training and coaching and da-da-da-da-da. So think about ideal client. What could happen from that is one of two things. A, it's going to showcase you again as the expert. B, they're going to learn so much. They're going to like, oh my gosh, Trevor, I want to work with you.
Yeah, the value. They can just like, here's my value.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness, it's clear as day. I love it.
So you have, and all of this, by the way, is all one show. As I'm going over all this, this isn't 4 different shows. This is all one show.
Yeah.
Okay, all one show. Okay. So you have, again, you've got the business development. Okay. You've got the, coaching, live coaching, where you're bringing people on and you're literally coaching them on the spot. Then you're going to have your solo episodes. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Solo episodes are, again, they're thought leadership episodes. This is where you're going to have some structured format. Okay. Of some talking points that you want to talk about, some things that are important to you. You know, your mission, your vision, some pitfalls, challenges, obstacles, things you want to overcome. Think about value, right? But it's just you talking to the camera, right? Again, not scripted. You may have some bullets.
Yeah.
Right. Like literally, I mean, almost kind of in this same scenario, I've got some bullets here of what I wanted to, talk about. Yeah. So I didn't script this. I just had some bullets.
Exactly.
Right. And you just talk. Okay. And so again, that would be kind of like a thought leadership episode, a solo episode, just you, just Tiffany in the camera. Okay. And then the last one would be like any kind of demoing of the process. Okay. If there's a process that you coach or teach on, right, I would showcase how you can demo that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Any example of that, maybe?
Well, like, okay, let's say, for instance, in my world, I teach people a lot about how to optimize their LinkedIn profile. Right. So if I need to show that, if I need to literally demo that, like this tool that we're using has screen share on it. So just like a Zoom, you could screen share it. Right. Okay. Yeah. And these are good for these types of videos are really good for YouTube.
Okay.
Think about, when people go to YouTube, they want to learn how to solve a problem. Like I'm Googling something that I'm having an issue with. Like the other day I was Googling something to do with Excel. Like, how do I do something in Excel? Like I was frustrated with Excel. I'm like, how do I do this? Right. Yeah. And here comes this little tutorial video. Boom. Cool. First I started reading things and I'm like, let me go to the videos. And I went to YouTube, watched a video, boom, solved my problem. Right. So think about it from that standpoint of, can you demo a process? Can you showcase how-to videos? Okay. I'm trying to give you an example. 5 ways to stay positive when everything seems negative. Something like that. I think I had an episode where I did like that. So just think about those different types of content that you can create.
Okay. I love that. Those categories.
Yeah, different kind of categories, right? Different categories, but
and then can I ask a question here?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you kind of have those 4 categories, do you do it like one, this, do you kind of do a pattern of them, or is it just a sprinkling spatter? Who knows?
That's a great question. I would try to keep a formula, like having when you do your scheduling.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I use Calendly for my scheduling.
Yep.
And this is another good lesson here for people is like use a scheduling tool. None of this back and forth, just Tuesday o'clock, Tuesday at whatever o'clock work for you. Yeah. I've had people reach out to me to have me on their podcast, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I use it as a teaching lesson. I'm like, hey, if you don't even have a Calendly account, like it's not that I don't want to be on your podcast. Trust me, thank you. But like, you're going to need that. Like you are going to need that in order for your podcast to be successful. So please have some kind of scheduling tool. But the reason I'm bringing that up is so that you can go and like maybe your business development, right, is one link, okay, that you do on Tuesdays. And maybe your thought leadership, which is your solos, are on a certain day.
Yep.
and maybe your, ideal client, which is like kind of like live coaching calls,
Yeah.
are on a different day, or maybe it's all on the same day. Like a lot of people will do batch recording. Okay.
Yes.
Where they'll literally record 3, 4, 5 episodes in one day.
Okay.
Right. And that's what they do for the whole month. Like, I'm going to do one day and I'm just going to get it all done. And that's my content for the month. Right.
Okay.
So you could do it that way too. But, again, have it to where, okay, well, if I'm going to do, if I need to do 4 episodes this month.
Yeah. Okay.
One is going to be a biz development show. One is going to be a thought leadership show. One is going to be demoing the process. One is going to be live coaching. Right. So you kind of have that structure built out in your calendar as you're doing it. And again, you could do it all in one day, or you could do it like, hey, this week I'm doing this. Next week I'm doing this. Next week I'm doing that. Right.
I just have a question about the amount. That was definitely a question. Do you think that for a month is, because you do want to be consistent, right? Like I don't want to start this and then be like 1 week, do it, not week. I really want to have a strong foundation.
Yes. Such a great question. So consistency, right? Discipline compounded daily equals transformation. Now, I'm not saying you got to do this daily. Okay. But at least weekly, I would say. And not only would I say weekly, but I would tell you that you should do it live.
Okay.
And let me explain this.
Okay. Yeah, that's like, fear factor.
Exactly. Well, growth happens outside of your
comfort zone.
Okay. Pressure creates
diamonds.
Yes. Okay. And we talked about consistency. Well, if I go out there and I tell the world, hey, got this new show. It's the Teach It. What is it? Teach It All?
Just Teach It.
Just Teach It. The Just Teach It show, Wednesdays at 3:00.
Yeah.
And I tell the world Wednesdays at 3:00. Guess what that commits you to do?
Put it out there.
Show up.
3:00.
That's right.
Yes.
And it also has some pressure to it. So like you'll notice, like when I hit record, guess what? We're live. So I don't have time to sit around here and think about what's my intro and this and that. And I'm thinking making it perfect. No. Perfection is like it's the killer of like consistency and getting it out there and go to market and all that. Like if I'm going to think about it too much, no. Get it. Just do it. Get it out there. Make the mistakes. Fall on your face. Like all of that stuff's great because you're going to learn from it. You're going to figure out quicker. Yes. Like, oh crap, I should have done it this way. Should have tweaked it. Should have. Oh, next episode, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way. Blah, 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 blah. But like, if we think about it too much, we'll get in our own head and we'll prevent ourselves from doing it. So
exactly.
Put it out there to the world that this is a live show. Okay.
Okay.
And that's just going to force you to do it.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100%, Trevor. That's good. And that's good. I need that. And I love that. So live.
Think Glenn Lundy. Yeah. Glenn Lundy has been live, right? He's been doing the morning show. Now, here's the difference. I want to show you something. Me and Glenn, literally, it's so funny. We started our shows and just, there's no, it's just a coincidence, but we started our shows at the exact same time. Yeah. January 2018.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was the exact same time. So who would have thought? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think about that and I'm like, wow. Anyway, but we started our shows at the exact same time, right?
Okay.
Here's the difference. And Glenn's better than me, okay? Like Glenn is at a different level than I'm at, okay? I'm just saying that he is. I give props where props is due. Like,
yeah, Glenn.
But there's a difference. Why? What was it that his was daily, a daily show. Mine's weekly. Yeah. So he's done like 1,000+ episodes, right? He's done 5 times, 6 times, 7 times as many shows as I've done. He's got more at bats, right? He's just pop. So They say, what is it? 10,000 hours to become an expert, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. We started at the same time, but he became an expert way quicker than I did as far as like his speaking and all of that. He was, the America's top speaker or whatever at the 10X Growth Con last year and all of that. So anyways, I say all that to say weekly is my kind of like minimum. I think weekly is minimum.
Okay.
You really want to supercharge this thing, go daily and see how that changes your life. I'm honestly, I tell you what, sometimes I think about doing it and I'm like, man, that could be kind of crazy. It's a lot of, the only issue for daily, I will tell you, you'll run into is the distribution on the back end. You're going to create so much content. You're not going to know what to do with all of it. Yeah. Like, cause you still have to edit it. You still have to kind of like polish it up to distribute it.
Exactly. So, so that would be my next question too, Trevor. It's like, okay, so we're going to go live. Mm-hmm. So what do I do then after I have that? Where do I even start with what I have?
Mm-hmm.
As far as, like you said, editing or...
Great question. Pieces? Yes. Great question. So number one, when you go live, I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts. Okay. So when you go live, you definitely want to, and we didn't really do it this episode, but you definitely want to recognize your audience. And when you first go live, you may not have anybody there. You may have 1, 2, 3 people. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Right. I don't know how many people you're going to have there, but whoever you got, make sure you give them a shout out, give them some love. So those of you that are tuning in, because we are live. Okay. Just put a 1 in the chat if you're enjoying this episode, and I will give you a shout out. But here's the deal. Okay.
Yeah. What
you want to do is recognize your audience and give them some love. Okay. Because you want them to continue to show up.
Yeah.
And you want, again, the live stream is going to help you promote your podcast. Okay. Yeah. So you want to get both, right? You're getting it live, and then you're going to help promote the podcast with those listeners, those people that are watching the live stream. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to shout out all throughout the entire episode.
Okay.
You don't want to do that. Okay. And that was a mistake that I made. So in the early days, I'll give you some more behind the scenes stuff. So we have these things called mic drops. Okay.
Yes.
The mic drop moments. And what I used to do was, let's say, Tiffany, you said something that was really impactful.
Yeah.
I would go mic drop like that. And then I would go to the audience and I'd say, okay, Tiffany just had a mic drop moment. Let's go to the audience and see if we can do a giveaway. Okay. And Tiffany, you would have a giveaway. So we used to do giveaways on the show, and we'd go to the audience, and whoever was paying attention and could answer a question, we'd give them something. We'd give away. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was great. It had great retention. People loved that. It was awesome. I still recommend that you do that. I just recommend that you do it at the end. Don't do it in the middle of your episode. Don't be doing all, like, you can still do the mic drop moments, but don't be giving shout outs, because here's the thing. On the podcast, no one cares. Okay. It's evergreen content. You have to think live versus evergreen. And evergreen, no one really cares about if I'm shouting out, hey, Tommy, hey, Susan, hey, Bob, hey, no one cares when they're listening to it as they're jogging, doing whatever they're doing. They don't care about that. Okay. They care about the content itself. They care about the actual content. So make sure, this is what I would do now, because I made that mistake of doing all those shout outs throughout the episode as the mic drops were happening. What it created was an editing nightmare. Because now I got to go cut this out and cut this out and cut this out and cut this out. It created a complete nightmare for editing.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Okay. This is amazing. Yes. Okay. This is great.
So what you want to do, though, is you want to have your shout outs in the beginning and at the end.
Okay.
So you'd start your episode and you're like, hey, this is, Tiffany with Just Teach It. On this episode, we're going to be talking about X, Y, and Z. How many of you in the chat, can you tell me if you've ever dealt with X, Y, and Z? Right? You just put a 1 in the chat. Love to give you a shout out, right? And as people start coming in, you start shouting about, hey, Tom, Susie, Bob, thanks for tuning in. My guest today is X, Y, and Z. We're going to be talking all about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to get them shouting out and get them like rolling in the comments in the very beginning of the episode.
Okay, good.
And then this is going to sound bad to the live audience, but ignore them. Because now guess what? If you're interviewing, especially, you're talking to that person.
Yeah.
Like the audience is listening, but you are having a conversation. So like forget the audience for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the end of the episode, when the episode is over and you're like, hey, Tiffany, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate you. Hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye. And then you go to the audience and you're like, hey, what'd you think about today's episode? What'd you think about Tiffany? She was awesome, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Make sure you tune in next week because next week I've got,
right.
Boom. Right. So you're promoting your next episode. Oh, by the way, if you missed anything, make sure you go check out the podcast, subscribe, give me a 5-star review, bop, 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 bop. Right. Yeah. So you're doing this at the beginning and at the end.
Okay.
With your live audience.
Yeah.
And then when you go for editing, you just chop, right. And everything in the middle is all just content for the podcast.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a great hot tip for sure. Because
yeah, I made that mistake. I'm telling you, because I actually got my hands dirty and started editing some of these episodes myself back in the early days, and I was like, oh, this sucks. There's too many shout outs.
I think the editing part is definitely a piece that is like, it is kind of that feels a little bit like it's going to be the piece. That's the work, I feel like, right?
Okay.
This is fun. This is fun. I like having conversations. I like talking to people. But
this is the easy part, right? Okay. Yeah. I'll make the editing part even easier for you. Okay.
Okay.
It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but when I say a little bit, I do mean a little bit. Not a lot of bit, a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to go to Upwork.
Yeah.
And hire a freelance video editor.
Yeah.
Okay. From overseas.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
They'll work super affordable.
Yep.
Okay. Like just to give you an example, you can get something done for around, $8 to $10 an hour.
Okay.
And they could do you an episode in maybe, 1 to 2 hours. So you're talking about, $16 to $20 for professional video editing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like where they can make you intros and outros and they can do they can do all the cuts and they can have, like if anybody listening right now, go check out one of our episodes. You'll see it. You'll see the editing that goes into it. And you don't need to do all that, Tiffany. That's not what you need to be doing. That's not what you need to be focusing your time on is editing.
Yeah.
You need to be focusing your time on getting your message out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And making, getting my business developed, like people and contacts and networking, right?
Yeah. I would say you could probably have an episode fully edited from start to finish for $15 to $20. Right?
Okay.
So all in, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the money side of it. Because a lot of people are like, man, podcast is so expensive, blah, 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 blah. Not really. Okay. Not if you do it. It doesn't have to be. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So let's go like this. Let's say, first of all, we're going to do some math right now. We're going to buy.
You're going to do some math.
We're going to do some math right now. We're going to buy a microphone. Okay. We're going to buy the Blue Yeti or whatever it's called, the Yeti. Yep. And that's like $100, I think.
Yep.
Okay. $100. It's a USB microphone. It's not an XLR microphone like this one. See, this is XLR. It's got the XLR cable. You have to have it plugged into a mixer and all that kind of stuff. You don't need that.
Okay.
Okay. You just don't. You don't need it. I bought this because I got into Clubhouse. Okay. And I bought the Rodecaster because all of a sudden I heard you could do sound effects and stuff in Clubhouse. And I was just trying to find my way, Clubhouse was interesting. I was trying to find my voice again because this was audio only. There was no video. And so it was it was different. And I was like, I'm trying to find my voice again. I was terrified of Clubhouse when it first came out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, I need a roadcaster so I can do sound effects. And like, I'm going to be a DJ up in here. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, you don't need all that. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So,
Okay.
$100
Microphone,
a microphone,
Okay.
camera. I would say
Yeah.
you want to get, you could go get one of those webcams for like, 100 and, about $100, 4K, webcam,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
a 4K webcam. Yeah. The one that's in your computer, probably not the best. It's probably like 720p, something like that. So let's take
Okay.
that up a notch.
Okay.
So that would be probably another $100. Okay.
Okay.
So now you're at $200.
Yep.
Okay. And you need a desktop or laptop computer. And that is, and internet. You need good internet. Okay. That is one thing. If you are going to live stream, Tiffany,
Yeah. Yeah.
you recommended highly that you are plugged Ethernet, not just internet, Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Highly recommended that if you're going to live stream,
Yeah.
that you hard Ethernet plug that sucker in.
Okay.
Because live streaming, internet's kind of a thing. Okay, you're gonna need some good internet. Okay,
Okay. That's good. No, this is great. This is the meat.
that's the meat.
Potatoes, Trevor. Yes.
Okay, so now we're at $200. It's like the equipment you need. Okay, well, plus your computer, and computers are going to range, but let's just say most people should have a computer already. I'm going to assume you already do, but let's say you don't. So now you're at another $1,000 because you need a computer. Okay, but I'm assuming you already have one. So you need a microphone and a decent camera. I would recommend that you get some lighting. So if you're looking at my picture right now, if I go like this, okay, you can see my face is like, even my camera's not picking it up right, but if I hit it with the light, right, you can see the difference.
Oh yeah.
Just by having a simple light. Okay.
Okay.
So you just need a couple little things. So maybe a little light, maybe that's like $20, something like that on Amazon.
Yeah.
Nothing big.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's talk about tech.
Okay.
Besides the cameras and stuff like that, tech. We talked about Riverside. Me and you have had a conversation about that. So Riverside's actually what we're recording on right this second.
Yep. And
Okay.
I jumped right on that actually, Trevor. I did that. I love and so far I will say I've just played around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Very intuitive for me. And I've kind of been practicing on it, recording like an intro kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a really awesome tool. I love it. Riverside is like a high-end Zoom for anybody tuning in right now, and maybe you're thinking about a podcast. Riverside is a podcasting production tool. Think of it as like a high-end Zoom. It's what we're recording on right now. And this tool, what's nice about it is it records natively on each person's camera and each person's device. So right now, Tiffany, your video is actually being recorded on your computer right now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And mine is being recorded on mine. My audio is being recorded on mine, and your audio is being recorded on yours. And what happens is when this is done, it sends me your audio and video, okay, over to me. Okay. The reason why it does all that is it gives me the highest quality audio video. Okay. And it gives me separate tracks. So I get a audio track for each of us, and I get a video track for each of us. Okay. Okay. So, and then what's cool about that is the tool actually now has got AI built into it, where the AI will master the audio video. Okay. So right now, even if you're watching this live online, the video may be a little blurry sometimes, because again, we're live, and live streaming, you may have some blurriness, but again, that's not what is actually the end production is going to be. The end production is going to be crystal clear because it's being recorded natively on your computer. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then it's also got some other tools built into it that are really nice. Like it will take the episode and clip and make those little like TikTok, shorts and YouTube shorts and reels, and it makes the vertical videos under 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So it automatically creates viral clips for you. It gives you a transcript of the episode, so it'll bring it into text. With that text, you can do so much. It creates show notes for you with timestamps, okay, that you're going to need for your podcast episode. You need that, the chapters and the timestamps, and you would also use that for YouTube as well, for your YouTube video.
Yep.
So it does a lot. For $24 a month.
Yeah, exactly. It's very reasonable.
Super reasonable for what it does. Like I used to have to hire a copywriter. Okay. Like literally, Tiffany. So the technology's gotten so good. It's like I paid a copywriter $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To listen to my episodes and write those show notes, literally handwrite show notes.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. And timestamp, right? And I could only imagine how long that would take.
I know.
Right? Think about doing that. Like,
no, thank you.
Okay. But that's what a copywriter does. That's what they're doing. That's why they're getting paid $300 a month to do my episodes and write this stuff. And
yeah, like,
sorry, but now with the technology and the AI and all this stuff, like it kind of like took her job. And I hate to say that. Now I figured out a different way to integrate her into my podcast production, but it took that part of her job, which was the copywriting, because now these tools do it for you. So it creates show notes. It does all this stuff. So yeah, that's a great tool. That's really all you need. You need a microphone, a good lighting, nice clean background, camera, Riverside.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's great. That's great for the tech. Now let's talk about, if you don't mind, like you're saying uploading, and you keep saying that like for your podcast, or so what platforms exactly, what does that look like? Like where are we live right now?
Great question.
Stream and stuff like that.
Great question. So on the live stream side of it, right, you can connect Riverside to pretty much all the social media channels. So you can connect it to your LinkedIn. You can connect it to your Facebook, connect it to your YouTube. You can get it connected to Instagram. You can get this thing connected so that all your social media channels, when I hit live, boom. That is the advantage of live streaming.
Okay.
Is that we can get this thing, we can shotgun this thing all over the place.
Awesome. Okay.
Now, not to get confused in here, but if we want to take it just a step further, there's something that's like a superpower. I highly encourage this too, but it is another tool, and this tool is called Restream.
Okay.
And Restream is a live streaming tool that, again, will shotgun and get it everywhere, but they have this really cool feature that I got to talk about. Okay. And it's called Pairs. Restream Pairs.
Okay.
Pairs, yeah. And so what's the advantage of Pairs? Yeah. Well, the advantage of Pairs, Restream Pairs, is that I can create an event in advance. Okay. So let's say I have a schedule. I have a schedule of shows. I already know who's coming on. I've got all their information. I go and I create an event in Restream. And then I can invite that guest to connect their channels to that event. So what does that mean? Let's think for a second. Let's talk like Grant Cardone, for instance. Exactly. Let's say no. Let's go back to your people you were talking about. You said Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama. You get Michelle Obama on your show.
Yeah.
How impactful would that be if Michelle connected her channels and her channels were going live?
I mean, that's just mind-blowing.
Like,
it's mind-blowing.
Right.
Literally.
Like, that would absolutely change your life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is where I say it's a superpower.
Yeah.
Because if you can, and sometimes they may be sensitive. I don't know if we're going to, but I've had many people do it. If you just make it part of your process essentially. Like, you know, they get an email beforehand that says, hey, make sure you connect your channels to go live with us. We're going live. Make sure you connect your channels to go live. Like, if you just make it a standard, don't make it an issue. Just like, it's part of the process. Hey, make sure you do this, and this before we're going on live. Blah, blah, right?
Yeah.
Like, they'll do it a lot of times. And now all of a sudden, like, you're live on their channels, especially if you have to think about it. If this is a biz development show where you're highlighting them and you're spotlighting them, they want to show it off to their audience anyways.
Exactly.
Right? Let's say Tony Robbins just wrote a new book. You have him on your show. You're highlighting him about his book. Why wouldn't he want that on his channel where he's talking about his book? Of course he wants that on his channel, right?
Of course.
So Restream pairs, amazing superpower, because you can create that event in advance and you can invite them to connect their channels. So it's no longer about the size of your audience.
Yeah.
It's all about the relationship capital and the people that you can get onto your show. That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah, that's a superpower.
That's a superpower.
That's really cool. So, okay, so we're going live.
Yep.
We're doing this on Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were talking about, like, for the podcast, I'm going to cut off the beginning and end, kind of like those shout outs. And then where do you put it?
Okay. So the distribution side, you want to talk about, there's a bunch of different podcasting channels. Okay. But your main platforms that you want to be Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Okay. So what I would do, right now where I currently am, and a lot has changed since then, and I may even consider using a different hosting platform in the future. But right now where I am is with Anchor by Spotify.
Okay. Yep.
Or they call it Spotify for podcasters. They literally they keep changing the name of this thing. But Anchor or Spotify for podcasters. Essentially, Spotify was the first to come out with video podcasting. Okay. So if you're on Spotify listening to this episode right now, you can actually watch the video. Okay. So, and then what's interesting is YouTube is actually the number one podcasting channel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And they actually have come out with their own. They're actually getting rid of Google Podcasts. Google Podcasts is going away. It is now going to be just simply YouTube Podcasts. They're going to be investing heavily into that. So, long story short, to answer your question, currently my hosting platform that I use is Spotify for podcasters. And what you do there is you then connect your other channels. So you would connect your Apple, right? You're going to go create an Apple Podcast account, and then you're going to connect it. And so what it does is when you upload your episode into Spotify for podcasters, it then distributes it to all the other podcast channels that you have connected to it. Okay. So let's say you had, and again, there's a bunch of them. There's a whole, let's say you had iHeartRadio, and you have, gosh, there's so many podcast channels out there. You'll see when you get into it, there's like 100 of them or more.
Yeah.
Okay. What this thing does, literally. Okay. Any of them that you get connected to it. Okay. You upload it in there, and it sends it everywhere else. So via something called an RSS feed. Okay. It's called an RSS feed. And so it distributes it for you. So you need to find the hosting platform that works best for you. I can tell you, personally, I've used Spreaker is one that I've used. And I've used Spotify for podcasters. Those are the two hosting platforms I've used. If I had to just go between the two of them, I actually liked Spreaker better. But at the time, I made the switch because they had video. Spotify came out with video. Okay. And I was like, video podcast. That's what we are. We're a video podcast, right? But see, here's the thing is, like, people don't understand. They think podcasts, they still think old school. They still think audio only.
I know.
That has changed. Okay. A podcast is what we're doing right now, audio, video.
Yeah.
It's both.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these podcast channels, the traditional ones, have kind of started to wake up and realize that, like, oh, the world's kind of going, like, it only makes sense to record the video too. Like, why would you just do audio when you could do both? And now you get all the content that goes with it. So they've kind of woke up to that. And so you're starting to see more and more, like, again, Spotify. I heard even Apple's coming with it soon. So yeah. But
and I'm sure YouTube podcast has it.
YouTube, of course. Yeah. YouTube podcast. And again, so every episode you're going to distribute onto YouTube.
Okay.
That's going to be something a little bit separate.
Okay. YouTube is going to be separate.
Yep. You're going to upload to YouTube separately.
Okay.
And you're going to upload to, call it Spotify for podcasters, or any of the other number of hosting platforms. There's a ton of hosting platforms out there, and honestly, that's the part that I probably should. That's something I need to myself do a little bit more research on right now, because I know a lot of things have changed since I made that switch. Okay. But it's not. See, the issue with whatever hosting platform that you choose, you don't really want to switch around a lot. And the reason why you don't want to switch around a lot is because you lose the analytics. Oh, yeah. The analytics don't really transfer over. So if you go, like, let's say, for instance, you go to show a potential partner or sponsor. Yeah. They're going to want to see, hey, well, what's your viewership and stuff like that. Totally. Well, if you switched over, well, I only got half the analytics to show you. Right. And so it doesn't look as good. It just doesn't. So I wouldn't recommend jumping around a lot. That was one of the things I didn't know when I made the switch from Spreaker to Anchor or Spotify for podcasters. I made that move. I was like, dang, where'd my analytics go? I lost everything. I'm like, oh, that sucks. All right.
That makes sense.
So, but it still could be beneficial. I'm not saying don't make a switch or anything like that. It could be beneficial because some of these hosting platforms have other advantages that others don't. Like, again, the reason I made the switch was for video. I wanted video. So
the options open.
Keep your options open. Absolutely. Okay. But yeah, you'll want a hosting platform that you can upload your video. When it's done editing, you can upload your video. Here's kind of the elements that you need. You need the video. Okay, and you need it, polished up, edited.
Yep, I'm gonna go to my Upworks and get it.
Get it polished.
Yep.
You need a thumbnail. Okay. And you need, I would say two different size thumbnails. You need a square thumbnail for your podcast cover art. Okay. So let's say it's let's say I was interviewing you. Yeah. I would have your face on it. Okay. And then the title of the episode. Okay. And maybe even, some people do episode number 1, episode number 2, you just see like what the number of it. Okay. That's okay. But think about a thumbnail, a square thumbnail. This is for your podcast cover art.
Exactly. Okay.
But then you also want a rectangle for YouTube, a YouTube thumbnail. Okay.
Sizes, yeah.
Yep. So you'll want two thumbnails. Okay. And then you're gonna want again the show notes, which come right here from Riverside. They give them to you with the timestamps. And so people can, they can see, like when I said, hey, the link will be in the description. When I said, make sure you go to the description for the mic drop moments, things like that. It's all going to be in the description. So those are your show notes, and those are really important too. They also carry heavily for SEO purposes, right? If you think about YouTube being a search engine, right? Well, if you don't really have a good description, right, it's not gonna, it's not gonna be highly searchable.
It's not going to come up. People are looking for how do I make a podcast? They're going to want to search this.
Bingo.
Want to find this. We want to have that description in there so they know that this is what you want to watch.
Bingo. Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, does that all go in the description?
Say that again. What all go in the description?
So the show notes.
Oh, so the show notes in the description, same thing. Okay. Yeah. So when it creates your show notes, it'll give you like a chapter summary, and it'll give you like all of that. So you'll see Riverside does a really, really good job with the show notes.
Okay.
You're going to put that in the description of YouTube when it says video description, boom.
Yep.
Right. And then also in your on the podcast side, same thing. It'll have a description, boom. That's where your show notes go.
Okay.
And then your thumbnails, and you're ready to rock and roll. You're ready to hit publish. Right?
You're ready to hit publish.
Ready to hit publish. Let's go.
Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. So let me just kind of, if you don't mind, I'm gonna walk myself
through
All right. I'm gonna do. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna get a microphone.
Microphone. Check.
I'm gonna get a camera.
Check.
I'm gonna get a lighting.
Yeah, some front. Yeah. Some lighting in the front. Yep.
Lighting. I think that's good. I am gonna reach out to my little list, right? I've got a few. I'm excited. I've got a few people. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm gonna reach out, and I'm gonna send them my Calendly link.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We want that, and that's
because we know exactly the date and time. Like we know it's Wednesdays at 3 or whatever it is, right? We know it's Wednesdays at 3, so you're going to build that in your Calendly. Just give them Wednesdays at 3. Hey, pick the Wednesday that works best for you.
Yep, exactly, and that's what's going to make it the time for me, right? Of course, it's another reason like people don't do this podcast thing. It's so much time. So I'm going to send them my Calendly link.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come back. Okay, I'm thinking of this, and I'm thinking I should probably have the thumbnails and those thumbnails. I should probably have them created before this stage.
You could. So 2 things on this. I want to also highlight something else. Okay. So in your Calendly.
Yep.
Okay, in your Calendly, this is a huge step, by the way. I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
Okay.
Make sure you ask for some specific information. Exactly. Okay, I'm actually going to take a look at mine because I got quite a few questions right now, so I'm kind of scrolling down. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, let me get my link so that I can show you some samples of some of the questions that I ask. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you why this is so important here in a second. Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, here's some of the questions. Of course, name, email, phone number. Okay, make sure phone number is there so that if anything, you run into any issues, you can give them a call. Yeah. Not just email. You definitely need their phone number. But by the way, here's another pro tip. This is data. You're collecting data. You're actually building your own database of people in your network. So make sure that as you're collecting, as you're doing this, like I've done over 500 episodes. Well, guess what? I have a super strong network. I had to go back. I literally had to go back because I wasn't doing a good job of organizing their name, phone number, and email. So make sure you do that from the very beginning because it will save you a lot of headache down the road. Yeah. But anyway, so name, phone number, email, bio, and short title. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it could be like Trevor Houston, financial professional, and then my bio, right? Yep. I also asked the question: are there any particular topics within self-improvement, career advancement, business growth, or professional development you'd like to focus on the podcast? So I'm asking them, is there anything in this kind of lane? Like, what is your show about? Is there anything in this lane that you would like to discuss? Right? Are there any specific, is there a book, product, website, event, or any promotional content you want us to highlight or feature? Mm-hmm. Right? I want to know that. Like, do they have a book or something that they want me to talk about?
Yeah.
Please provide your website and social links to appear in the podcast description. Okay. Do you have here's another pro tip. Do you have a podcast that you would consider a collaboration on? Absolutely. So you're giving them value, but hey, do you have a podcast? And would you want to collab on that? Like maybe now all of a sudden you're on their podcast, right?
Yeah. Love that.
And then this is another question that I ask at the very end. I say the Who You Know show is built on networking and referrals. It's how we uncover hidden gems. Please nominate 3 people who could potentially be a fit for our show. Provide their name, email, website, and social media. Right. And not everybody do that. I don't make that a required field. For the referrals part, I don't make that required. Everything else that I just mentioned, I have as required field.
Okay. They
have to fill that out. That one I don't, simply because it is a lot of information. You're talking about name, phone number, email, social media, blah, 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 blah. But you'd be surprised by just asking it and having it there, how many referrals for great guests, So, just by asking the question, have it there, ask the question. So, and then from here, now I've got their title, their bio, all this information. I know what they want to highlight. I know what they want to talk about. I know all this stuff.
Yeah. It's a good setup for you.
It's a good setup that I can take that information and I now take it to ChatGPT.
Yes.
Okay. This is a pro tip right here.
Oh yeah.
Because let me tell you something. And I know a lot of the old school podcasters are going to probably give me hell for this one. Okay. They're going to give me hell for this one. Cause listen, I used to do so much research on my guest, like hours and hours, watching videos, doing all this research. And then I would come up with a whole bunch of questions and I'd type it in and I'm like thinking about, okay, how am I going to angle this and angle that and blah, blah, blah. And, as great as that is, man, talk about sometimes imagine, life gets busy and then all of a sudden your interview's tomorrow. Yeah. And it's late at night and you're like, oh crap, I got to get ready for this. Oh my gosh. And you're like, it now becomes a
job
pain in your butt. You're like, oh, I can't believe I forgot to do my, okay. No. Okay. Maybe if this is somebody really, 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 really special that you want to just put a little extra love into some research, but let me tell you something. Take what they gave you. Okay?
Yes.
Over to ChatGPT.
Yes.
And I want you to say, write me a podcast title, description, and interview questions for this guest, and then paste in that information.
Can you say those one more time?
Yeah. I want you to write me a podcast title, description, and interview questions for this guest. Paste in all your, the bio, the all that stuff that they gave you. And oh my gosh, freaking, that's what I did for your episode, by the way. I did that for you.
Yes.
Yeah, oh I did that for you. So, and here's the thing. It's going to spit out 10 questions. It's going to give you the description, the title, all that. Okay. And now I've got this information that is it's a runway.
Yeah.
It is not my interview. I want you to know this. This is just guardrails. This is how I start.
Yeah.
I know how I'm going to start. I know how I'm going to finish.
Yeah.
But the interview is going to go which way it goes.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love that, Trevor. That is, I think it's brilliant. I think it's, we all want, it's that template. It's that and obviously we're all open. It's all organic. Like you said, there's no script, etc. But just having these steps and then using the tools, right, that we have, I think makes it so that somebody like me who, I've got I'm a teacher, I've got a nonprofit, I've got I got a couple kids, I got like things going on.
Yeah.
All these tools just make it so that it feels doable for me, right? And so I love that so much, and that really comes from making that specific in your Calendly.
Yes.
Right?
Getting the data up front.
Getting that up front.
Asking those questions up front. Okay. Yep. And then taking that to ChatGPT, having ChatGPT write the do the rest of the heavy lifting for you, write the questions. And again, I know there's a lot of podcasters probably listening to this right now. They're like, oh, you didn't write your own questions. No, I have my own conversations though. Let me tell you something. No, I didn't write the questions. The questions was written by ChatGPT. Okay. And then I got in here and I had a genuine, authentic conversation that followed a formula and followed a process. Like, exactly. And so I don't have, that's the other thing. Please don't do this. Do not ask question and then question and then question and then question. This is not an interrogation. It's a conversation. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a mic drop right there. Not an interrogation, a conversation. Okay.
Yes. That is quotable.
That's quotable.
That's quotable. I'm quoting you on that one, Trevor. This is it. We're having a conversation, not an interrogation. I love that. So, okay. So basically, this is what I've done. Gotten my equipment. Mm-hmm. I got my Riverside. I sent out my Calendly link.
Yep.
And asked them those questions.
Yep.
Let's come back. I've put that in my ChatGPT tool. I have my guideline. I have my rails.
Yes.
And then we do this.
Yeah, you do it. You can literally copy and paste from ChatGPT those questions into Riverside. They have a teleprompter feature.
Yes.
Okay. And so like you can literally pull it up and you can put a script in if you want to. And like I literally have it right there. Like I have one right here from my last episode. Right. Joining us today is Jack Espy, the visionary founder of Spirited Hive, born in Devon, but it's right there. It's right in front of me. If you can read, you can do this. Yeah. And then you go again. My first question, you open it up. Hey, Jack, thanks for joining us. Can you share a little bit about X, Y, and Z? You open it up and now we're in a conversation.
Oh,
and it's just going to go where it goes.
I know. And of course, like that's for me, that's the bomb. That's like what I'm so excited about, right? I love those conversations, all about learning,
mm-hmm.
all about teaching and connecting. I love this, Trevor. Okay, so then I've done this. We've had it. Mm-hmm. And we've done it, I'll do it live. I'm going to do it live. I'm going to tell people this is the day, this is the time. I'm going to do once a week on this day at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Come check it out or,
yes,
blah, blah. And then I am going to hit record. I'm going to hit done. We're going to be done.
That's it.
And then we're done. But then I'm going to send stuff. I'm going to go to Upworks.
You're going to go to Upwork.
Get that video editor. I'm going to get a video editor, and I'm going to ask them to clean it up. And so let's talk a little bit. Let's go a little bit further. Okay.
Intro and outro.
Yes.
Okay. Intro and outro.
Yes.
This makes it easy because again, once we have an intro and outro created for your show, he can do. Remember, we're going to chop out the live stuff. We're going to chop out that front of bend, boom, boom, and he's going to take the intro and the outro and just boom, boom. Right? He's going to put that at the front and the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So the intro would be like, we want to keep it probably less than 30 seconds. Okay. You want to keep it short. You don't want to go too long. Again, remember, if you think about YouTube. Yeah. Okay, if we're on YouTube, how long are those people going to sit there? Like people want to get to the meat, right? Yeah, so really the shorter on the intro, the better. I mean, I like that. You could even do 15 seconds. Okay.
30 max. Yeah.
30 max. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what you might even do is give yourself your own commercials.
Okay.
Think about this. Like, again, if my intro is short,
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about, what the show's about. Like most people, they want a long intro so they can talk about what the show's about, what it is, right? Well, if we're keeping it real short and we're just getting to the meat and potatoes, well, maybe at like minute 15, I want to put a little video clip in there that says, hey, I hope you're enjoying today's episode. This podcast is all about bop, 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 bop. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell, bop, bop, bop. And maybe a little plug in there for yourself, like you're plugging yourself, right? Yeah. We've got this, this show's all about this because we have this nonprofit and we got this, we got that, blah, 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 right? Yeah. So like, think about that. You're your own commercial placement. You're your own ad. Yeah. Okay. You could put that inside your own episodes. Yep. Right. Wow. So, but again, we want an intro and an outro, and then you may want a couple of, maybe at 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you may want a couple of little ads for yourself.
Love that. That's great. Yeah, a little pop it in.
Yep. And make them short. Those will be short too. Yeah. Again, hey, hope you're enjoying this episode. Make sure you subscribe and like the channel. But you see people do this all the time. A lot of times they're selling their merch.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Hey, subscribe and like the channel and, get a hat. We got an XYZ, you can get coupon code, blah, 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 blah. Right? You see that stuff all the time. Yeah. So also be a student of podcasts. Start listening and watching and seeing what other people are doing. But okay, so we've recorded the episode. We go to Upwork. And we want to create an intro and an outro minimum. We do need that. So he can put those in. But that's pretty much it. You're done at that point.
That's it. And then I'm gonna go to Spotify, Anchor, whatever podcasting thing, and I'm gonna join that and I'm gonna upload it there.
You're gonna upload it there,
and it's gonna go. And then I'm gonna share it out and all the links and all the things and and that's it. And I've got a podcast.
And you got a podcast and. I would even, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you, I would even consider whoever your editor is.
Yeah.
As you're hiring, make sure you're on Upwork and you put a description out there that you need a video podcasting, video podcasting editor. And you may even put in there that you want them to help you with the distribution. They could upload it. They could take it to the channel. Like they could do all of that, and they will do all of that. Exactly. Like literally, if you want that hands off to where like you go into Riverside, you record. They have your login to Riverside, and they do the rest. You can have that done for, like not that much money. And it gives you your time back. So just something to consider.
I don't know if you remember this, Trevor, but my first business and the one that I was telling you about on the contest, was that I connected virtual assistants with business builders.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
And so that is where my heart is. And that's where I first started helping people because yes, there are thousands of people that this is really important for them that they have this work. Mm-hmm. And it isn't, I think you're 100% right. It doesn't cost us as much as you think it's going to, right? It's very reasonable.
Yep.
Really, I will say this too, for anybody who's wondering about using these services, it changes lives on the other end.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. Like it's a big thing for, like my social media manager and distribution and copywriter and all that stuff. She's out of India. And then, I think my video editor, I think he's out of Albania. But yeah, like like it's a big deal to them. It's a lot of money to them.
Big deal to them. It
Big deal
is. It
to them.
really is. Yeah, it's a
Yep.
really big deal to them. So, if you can do the $20 an episode, I think it's just another little thing. It's not just about saving us time, but it really is helping other people. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. So then you get it uploaded, you get it distributed, and then Riverside again will make the clips for you. Okay. It literally makes the little reels and clips so you can promote it. You can start doing little bite-sized clips of the episode, and it'll have captions, and you can put your logo on it, and you can do all this stuff. It's really simple in the tool. It's not hard. It does 95% of the work for you. So, I tell everybody this. I know, and we've gone over a lot today on this episode. We've kind of gone over a lot. But really, I tell you, like, if you can do a Zoom, you can do this. So you need a camera and a microphone, okay? And this Riverside tool, and I've given you some other strategies if we connect Restream and if we do some other things with it. But, it doesn't have to be rocket science. And, if you do it right, there are some people who don't even edit their episodes and they just literally throw them up there. I'm not saying you do that. I think I saw a big difference when we started actually doing some edits in the back end and stuff like that. So I saw a big difference in the audience retention and everything like that. So
no, I think it's you've given me my sneakers.
Yes, let's go. And this is episode 1. This is episode 1 for you.
This is episode 1 for me. Absolutely, Trevor. This is episode 1, and just teach it. You have taught me so much about podcasting. And, I think before we got on this, call before we began this conversation, I was not sure.
You were still okay. Where are you at now? Okay. That was like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where were you at?
Right. Before I made this commitment.
I
downloaded Riverside.
Yep.
I made this time call with you.
Yep.
And I was probably on a scale of 1 to 10. I was probably at about a 6.
Okay, 6. It's not bad. It's not passing, but it's not bad. Okay, where are you at now?
Yeah.
And be real with me. And if there's still some uncertainty and unclarity, that's common. It's actually. But go ahead. Where are you at now?
Yeah, no, I think I'm probably at like an 8.5.
8.5. Okay.
Maybe 9, but 8.5,
okay.
8.75. Like,
okay. All right.
You know what I mean? Like, I am, and it's that muscle. It's the practice.
Yes.
It's the doing, because now we've talked about it. And I have this information I'm going to digest. I have literally 10 pages of notes. I'm going to digest.
And what you got to do is one step at a time. So that's why I said the first thing, remember I told you, I was like, just get Riverside. Just go. Get Riverside. Yeah. And I would say to get started, like, here's the things I'm going to give you I'm going to give you like a list. Okay. So the first thing I know, because
an action list.
I know you have like your flow, right? We've kind of talked about the flow, workflow. But let's talk about just getting you launched, okay? If you want to get launched, first, go build your Calendly. So I need a date and a time. So date and time, you are planting your flag. You're saying, this is what I'm going to do. Wednesdays at 3:00, whatever that date and time is, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to go into Calendly. You're going to pick all the Wednesdays, and you're going to pick at 3:00, boom, 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 boom. And you're going to build that link to have those questions that we talked about, right? Yep. And I'll send you an example of mine, okay, so that you can kind of, make yours around. Yeah. But you're gonna have your Calendly link, so that's the first thing, so that you can just start inviting people and build out your show in advance, okay? So that like I would want to know maybe the next. Let's see if you can get like 6 to 10. Do you have 6 to 10 people that you could reach out to get on your podcast?
100%, yes.
Would they say yes right away if you asked them to be on your podcast?
I have already had about 4 people say yes right away.
Okay, let's get them on. Let's get them scheduled, right? So that's the first step. Second step, okay, is now we're going to go. We've got their information. We got their bio and all that stuff. We're going to go to ChatGPT,
Yep.
and ChatGPT is going to write the show notes and the description and all of that.
Yep.
Okay. And the questions too.
And the questions. Yep. Interview.
This is where, if we are going to connect Restream,
right.
If you're going to do that,
yeah.
Now what we want to do is we want to create a YouTube thumbnail.
Okay.
Okay. With their face on it. Okay. Your face and their face, and then a title of the episode. And where did I get the title from? ChatGPT. No. ChatGPT gave me the title. Gotcha. So ChatGPT is going to title my video, my thumbnail for me. Okay. And then I'm going to put the image of them and me on it.
Yep.
And I'm going to take that and I'm going to go to Restream.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to schedule those in advance, those episodes in advance with their thumbnails. Okay. So what happens is when you do this, it publishes and it goes to LinkedIn and it goes to Facebook and it creates event pages.
Okay.
Boom. Okay. Now I've got in Restream, I've got this thing called a pairs link. Okay. Restream pairs. And that's what I need to send back to them to invite them now to connect their channels.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is like what I would say is kind of like the framework. Just I want to get them on the calendar. I want these out there to the universe. I want them pairing their channels.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have the episodes, and we'll talk about, we've talked about what the editing and all that once you've actually recorded and all of that. But what we're doing in the beginning is we're planting our flag. We're putting it out there to the universe and saying, hey, we're going to do these episodes here. Here it is.
I'm gonna do it. I know. It is a lot. It is a lot, but I am, it's you talked about it. We put it out into the universe. I think you made a great post on LinkedIn today or yesterday about just that fact, manifesting, putting it out to the universe. You talked visualization. That's what it was, right? That's what your post was, visualization. And it's all about timing too. You said that earlier, because I have been hearing about this, thinking about this, open to it, not really sure it was for me. I didn't need to, blah, blah. You opened that door wide open. And, that's what this has been today, has just taken this to another level of like actualization.
I love it. It's totally doable. You can do it yourself, guys. I want everybody that's listening, if you have a dream, a mission, a vision, well, guess what? You need a podcast. You need to get it out there, and you need to get, some visibility and some attraction to whatever it is you're trying to bring into your life. And a podcast is definitely the way to do that. Okay. It's the fastest growing market. It's growing like crazy. And so you can do it yourself. What we're talking about, what I just talked to Tiffany about today, is doing it yourself. Okay. And it can be done. If you can do a Zoom, you can do this yourself. A little bit of money, not a lot. Okay. We talked about it. A little bit of money in the front, right? You're going to buy a camera, you're going to buy a light, you're going to buy, but you don't need thousands of dollars of equipment. Okay. There are a couple of tools that will save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you subscribe to them. Riverside's a great one. But ultimately, we're talking about, if you did it all in and you did it the right way, you could do it for like $100 a month. Okay. It's not a lot of money. That's with the editing and everything, right? You could do that. But then there's another side. I want to flip that coin, Tiffany. I do want to say this one last thing, because I know this is a little bit of a longer episode, but I wanted to give you some extra time here.
Yeah.
One last thing is, the more you pay attention. Okay. The more you pay attention. What does that mean? Well, what that means is, when we started our show, we hired a production company when we started. Okay. And again, what I did was I planted my flag Wednesdays at 3. That's when we're doing our show. I had a studio. Okay. And all I had to do was walk in and do my thing, walk out. Okay. So again, and what that did was it gave me consistency. If I'm paying if I'm paying for this, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to put the time and effort and the energy that's required.
Yeah.
Right. And so I want to give you, and for the audience listening, I want to give the audience different ways to think about doing this. If you have this and you want to do that, maybe you do just need to go locate and research a studio near you. Mm-hmm. And just go walk in and ask them or reach out to them and say, hey, what does it cost per hour to come in here and just walk in and walk out? They're going to make you the star. You walk in, you're the star, you walk out, and the rest just happens. What does that look like? Right. And you make that determination whether you think it's worth it for you to do it that way or not. But I think this is a skill that, especially if you can learn how to do it yourself, I think it's a great skill to learn. Yeah. And it's actually a very, very valuable skill. It's worth a lot of money. So, Tiffany, I encourage you. I know you can do this. It's not rocket science. If you can do a Zoom, you can do a podcast.
Thank you so much, Trevor. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for you and our connection. And, and I'm excited. I hope that this episode too will launch other podcasts. And so I'm excited to see where this ripple goes. Let me know. Let me know if you're watching this and you're with me on this journey. You're in my beginning cohort of podcast beginners. Please let me know. Let's do this because we're all better together.
What an amazing call to action at the end. Let's go. That's a mic drop. Let's go. Tiffany with the call to action. So reach out to her and say, hey, I'm thinking about a podcast too. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. All right, guys. That's the show. It's all about
who you know.
No. What is it? This is your show today.
Who you know? What do you mean? I don't know. You have me very well trained.
I know. I got you trained. See, that's a signal there. It's all about
just teach it.
Just teach it. Let's go. Bye.